Hey friends. So I am recording this video after I am supposed to have already left Shouldice Hospital. I was standing up from my bed, putting things in my bag, responsibly getting ready to leave with plenty of time to get to the airport and have all the time I should ever need to make adjustments and make sure that I'm on the pre-check list and, you know, nurse this new wound that I have here that I'm going to be carrying around for a couple of weeks. And I got a message on my phone that my flight was delayed. And it was delayed enough that it was going to mean there was almost no way I could make my connection. So I was like, well, what do I do? I walked to the front desk and they told me, oh yeah, you can stay another night. It won't cost you anything. You just stay here. Just leave tomorrow. I was like, I'm starting to like Canada. You know, not a bad response to get from the front desk of a hospital. So I'm here. I'm getting like a bonus night of healing. I get to go have a bonus dinner. And I spent most of the day, so this is before I actually knew I was delayed, I spent most of the day, I was kind of having one of those days, you know, this is one of those times. I am, aside from the surgery, which really did preoccupy me, obviously for the first day, but then the second day as well, it was like, okay, my focus is on that. But today, I'm kind of ready to move. It's like I notice my body, it's clearly, they know what they're doing around here because the amount of time that I've had just puts me in a place where I'm like, okay, I'm ready to walk out of here, I'm ready to move, I can tackle an airport, you know, I'll be walking gingerly and I'm sure hope I get an aisle seat, but I'm good. And so I'm kind of here on my own, enjoying myself now, right? Now it's like almost like I got disposable energy. I can't really go anywhere, but I'm ready to go somewhere. And there's part of me when I get in a place like this, it's like, oh, I just want to like watch a movie, I want to do something fun, I want to entertain myself, but I've made myself read almost to the end. I got about 20 pages left in Edmund Sprunger's book, Helping Parents Practice. And it wasn't until I got almost to the end that I noticed the front cover. It says Volume 1. So apparently there's another whole volume of this book, although I'm not sure he ever wrote Volume 2. He may have just written Volume 1. But anyway, I got into the section on rhythm. And rhythm, it's so interesting to me that it was so interesting to me the way he explains rhythm and the way he talks about rhythm practice and the way he at some point says something like, understanding rhythm sets a student up to solve all other technical problems almost on their own, as a matter of course. Really understanding rhythm. And initially I was like, how does that even work? But then I realized, first of all, he's talking about violin. He's coming from a violin background. And understanding rhythm does not mean understanding how to read eighth notes and quarter notes and 16th notes on a piece of paper. What he means by understanding rhythm is being able to feel the pulse of a piece in your body. He's got this great exercise that I can't wait to go home and try out with my daughter, where you're kind of stepping in time and playing the piece. I've seen a couple of her group class teachers do this, and I always thought it was great, but I never quite understood the significance of it until I read Edmund Sprunger, because I'm like, oh wow, like he really, what he's put together is the fact that if you can feel rhythm in your body, and on the violin, the way that bow has to move, and the way the bow has to be coordinated with the left hand, and the way the body has to be in balance as all of that happens, and the ear has to be connected to the tuning as things happen in time, the flow of time, the way that time flows through a violinist's body, producing an even tempo, an even beat. I don't know that it's true that that solves all other technical problems, but I can totally see why it sets up the conditions for all other technical elements to sort of be subsidiary to that, and to be things that you can then focus on one little thing and come back to putting it all together in time. It's basically talking about the flow of time. And I talk about this in my teaching all the time, how time is the canvas of music. We paint music on time. That's how we do it. Time is where we hang our notes and tones and rhythms and harmonies and all the musical elements. They all get draped onto a canvas of time, because it's vibration. That's how you paint with vibration. And so I was just really fascinated and really excited to come across this way of thinking about rhythm. And I realized I've been totally de-emphasizing it in my work with my daughter, and it gives me, I think, hopefully, knock on wood, some really fun things to bring home and to start doing as games. They may be challenging games, but they'll be very different from anything we've done, and I think I'll have a new appreciation for what we're actually working on when we do these games. I really kind of feel like a door has opened up in my mind regarding how to think about rhythm, how to really think about introducing a student to the flow of time, not using a metronome, not using complicated notation, but using the feeling in their body of playing a piece that they know how it goes in time, with their body keeping time. It's like there's just a level of elements coming together in that I'm fascinated by, and that all of a sudden I want to start employing. I kind of want to start being, I think inevitably I will be much more conscious of how that comes out through me. I say it's kind of ironic that I've never, that I haven't emphasized it as much, because I'm a jazz musician, for crying out loud. This is like, rhythm is the life of that music. Obviously there's harmonic elements as well, and melodic elements, and all elements, but you'd be hard pressed to find one that feels more foundational to jazz than rhythm. And so I find it funny that I haven't really paid much attention to it in teaching my daughter. I've kind of like let it be a thing. And the funny thing is, she's also pretty good at it. Like, she's also just kind of, hopefully she's internalizing something from me that I've just transmitted without really ever talking about it. She plays in time quite well. She understands time. She understands subdivisions quite well. I don't know that we've ever worked on keeping a steady beat, but according to Edmund Sprunger, you're not supposed to do that for a while anyway. So I feel like we're right on time. And as I make my way to the end of the book, I literally have a note with, like, at this point, 55 different notes to myself. And I'm not even done. I'm sure it's going to be 60 or 65 before the book is finished. That I then need to go back and distill, go back through and remember, kind of like create little other documents that have subsets of things that I want to group together. and remember, because the main thing that has happened is it was really interesting how this trip has gone. On our drive from Albuquerque to El Paso, where I had to go to get my passport, had a conversation with my wife, and we were talking about how musical practice is going with Annalise, and what is and isn't working, and what isn't working in the teacher relationship, and just all the different elements of the picture. And I felt a very powerful feeling of I need to reboot this process. I need to reevaluate, and it's not that I haven't done a good job so far, but it's like there's a lot for me to address, and it's important that I address it. It's actually, again, as Sprunger says, and as anybody who has a child knows, there's a lot more going on when you're studying music than just learning music. There's a lot of like the intensity of that training and the amount of focus and the amount of learning that happens really ends up meaning that music affects life in a big way. And in a lot of ways, I was feeling a tremendous need to just reevaluate and kind of come to a new approach. And I feel like by being here, it's almost like I didn't finish the book, so I don't get to go home yet. Maybe I'm supposed to finish the book tonight so that I can actually leave tomorrow. But I've read an entire, almost 300-page book, 260, 270, I guess. But a dense book, a lot of information, but it has given me the tools to reboot that process. And I'm gonna be curious to kind of monitor myself and see. I think I need to be pretty deliberate and pretty conscious over the next few weeks and months, probably. I would guess that within 2 to 3 months, I could kind of get rolling again with a new process and feel comfortable with it. But I think for a while, I'm really gonna have to like have a daily lesson plan and know what I'm trying to do, and treat my practice as the parent in the relationship as a practice. Really make this a practice of mine so that I do a good job for her and stay out of the way for her, and do just create an environment where that type of deep learning can actually happen. Because I think we're off to a good start, but I've also noticed a lot of ways in which I'm throwing monkey wrenches in the works and then going, why'd I do that? But asking myself, why'd I do that, or seeing that something doesn't work, doesn't necessarily mean that I have the tools to do it differently. I needed the master class that I just got. So, what an interesting time, man, that I came here to do my own healing, and it took me offline for long enough that I could just fully go through this process. And now I get to uncork it, unveil it, and kind of get serious about this approach. So, it's exciting. And I'm going to go have another meal at Shouldice. You probably won't hear from me again until I'm back in Albuquerque, because I have an early flight now. But thanks for watching, folks. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. See you soon.